Welcome, welcome, welcome to Let's Think About It podcast with Dr. E. We're back again for another exciting episode. I know the last episodes were life-changing. I know it made you think, it gave you ideas, but today's topic is going to be amazing. Today, we're going to talk about revolutionizing the minds and souls, the Black church's bold move in the mental health crisis. Kirk Franklin said, "Do you want a revolution?" He would, I wish I could sing like Kirk and move like Kirk, but do you really want a revolution? Do we really want to change the minds of people? Are we interested in giving people ideas and concepts on how to change their own minds? I talked to a therapist one day and she said to me, "Erica, I often give people tools and things and strategies on what to do at home. But when they come back to me, they don't do them." So I find myself asking them, if you do the things I put in place, it could revolutionize the way you think, your environment, your space. And I said to her, it's easy to do the skills with you than they are to do them at home. At home, we get conducive to our environment, and we tell ourselves we're going to do it. It's just like exercise. You tell yourself, I'm going to exercise, and then you get home and get on the couch and you never move. It's the same thing. When they're with you, they can practice the exercises. When they get home, they don't feel as empowered. The Black church has been a cornerstone for the African American community. It was a sanctuary. It's a place of faith, a place of hope, a place of resilience. But in the recent years, something remarkable has been happening. Our Black churches have been stepping up and making bold new waves as it relates to the Black Lives Matter movement, mental health in the Black church, and more importantly, tackling the issues facing our community. You see, the Black church was birthed out of a community of struggle. I think the Black church, we cannot separate ourselves from struggles and challenges because that's what made us who we are. It was during the era of the civil rights movement that we saw the church as the model. It was the gateway. It was the safe house. It was the place of safety that we could go to. Many of y'all remember the movie Harriet, and they told her when she went to wherever she went to, go to the church, because they trusted the pastor, because that pastor was the beacon of hope in the community. And they trusted that pastor understood the Black community, so they would only educate them enough to preach the text that kept them suppressed. So now that we are at liberty to read the text for ourselves, to worship freely without restraint, now we're having to redefine, what does the Black church look like? How can we play a pivotal role in what is going on today? We have seen recently in our culture, and I'm talking about not just the African American culture, we have seen that we are in a pivotal election. And in this election year, we're in the month of July and the election is November. It's pivotal that at the Black community that we don't just not talk about what's going to affect us, that we bring together our communities and have dialogue on what will be the implications if he gets back in office. What will be the implications if Trump wins this election? I know a lot of pastors, and we know this to be true, you can't call or say a name from the pulpit. So what you need to do is create a community that we can talk about the pros and the cons. And I know some of you are saying, but did you see the debate? Yeah, I saw the debate. But the debate was not something that really we should really be focused on. Because if we look at who was up there, we have a felon, a criminal, 34 counts. He was found guilty in 34 counts. Yeah, Joe's old. But Joe's track record, he knows policy. And as we are looking at what's taking place in our community, I need for you to understand the importance of what the Supreme Court justices put into place and Project 2025, how these are going to affect our community. I am still in revolutionizing our minds. And so, you see, we have to talk about what's affecting our community, because our mental health is going to be affected if he gets back into office. It's going to change how you operate your business. It's going to change how you worship. It's going to change where you spend your money. It's going to change how you live. It's going to change your insurance. It's going to change a lot of things about what you have freedom to do now. The question I ask you, the black church, black America, what are you going to do about it? Are we going to sit down and we're going to wait for somebody to come to us and say, you know, we need to pull together? No, no, no. I am putting out a clarion call in this episode. Black America, we need to come together and we need to address what is going to revolutionize the minds and the souls of our black church and the black community. See, I'm pro-black every day. I went to a predominantly all-white high school. I grew up in a predominantly all-white community. And so my mom made sure I was connected to my blackness. She made sure that I was connected to all things black. I told everybody my mom should have been Black Panther because she's pro-black all day. She should have been part of that movement. She was born during the civil rights movement. She's 74. So one of the things that I understand is that where she grew up, her and my dad, was a whole lot different. They understood separate water fountains. They knew the back of the bus. They understood that they could only eat and do certain things. They understood that when they had to go to a movie, they had to sit in the balcony. These things they knew. They had to buy their snacks at the behind of the building. They couldn't come on the front of the building. So they understood these things. But she said something to me, my parents said something to me that was very pivotal. She said, Erica, segregation for them was the worst thing they could have done. I mean, integration, sorry. Integration. Because we lost our essence of black America. She said we had everything in our community. We had grocery stores, we had doctors, we had lawyers, we had everything in our communities. Everything was not equal, but she said we were fine with our community. Now I understand why integration had to take place, but there were some things in that aspect that we lost our black community. We started adopting other people's ideas of what we thought. White America told us for so long what we could and could not do, that we felt as if white America was right. So now that we are come to 2024, and the black church needs to reestablish itself as the cornerstone in the African American community, understand that we're a sanctuary, a place of safety. Is your church that place? Is your church the place that people can find safety? Let's think about it. Let's take a moment to think about this. For generations, the black church has been a place of spiritual refuge. It's where we find strength, where we gather for fellowship, where we draw inspiration. But historically, mental health wasn't always at the forefront of church discussions. In fact, it was often a taboo subject, shrouded in stigma and misunderstanding. But times are changing, thank God, that we're realizing that we've got to do something to make a change. Today we're seeing pastors and church leaders openly talking about their mental health, inviting therapists to speak to congregations, creating support groups for those struggling with mental illness. The shift is revolutionary and is saving lives. But we've got to do more. We've got to do more. So let's think about why change is so crucial. In our community, mental health challenges often compounded by stress and systemic racism and economic disparities and social injustices has caused trauma in our experiences. The trauma has been overwhelming. Yet far too long, we have sat silent at a lot of our injustices, and now we're seeing that we've got to speak up and speak out. We've seen signs of weaknesses and lack of faith in the community. But I want to challenge you to build your faith in community. You keep hearing me use the word community. Your community is not your household of faith. Your community is where you live, where you shop, where you worship. Let me say it again. Your community is where you live, where you shop, where you worship. Your community is where you are. Wherever you go, that's your community. So now we've got to say, what is the community and what does it look like now? Your community is not something that we can just sit back and say, oh, it'll take care of itself. We've seen those communities. They have now become extinct. We've seen those communities where big corporations moved in and then they moved out. And those communities now have been left looking shipwrecked. Now there are no resources there. They have to drive an hour to go to a grocery store. They have to go other places. We've seen this time and time again. We cannot sit back and allow somebody else to revolutionize our community. We've got to be on the forefront. The trauma of these experiences can be overwhelming, but I want you to understand, you've got to take the rams and the horns and you got to run forth with it with everything that you have. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to see a therapist, and it's okay not to be okay. Let me say it again. It is okay not to be okay. Because your community, that's where community comes in. That's where community steps in and say, hey, guess what? I want us to be a part of a community that's thriving, that's growing. But understand there's areas that we need to come together. Far too long we have been separate and not equal. We've been separate and we've not been given the same hand that our white counterparts have been given. So the mental health has been staggering. I can go to the bank and they ask me to give blood. They can walk in there and show a piece of paper and get the same amount of money that I'm asking for. I never forget, we bought a commercial property a couple of years ago. And the stuff they asked me for, I said, honey, what else more do we have to give you? Do you want, I don't have no children, but Lord, I can make up some. I mean, do you need, what else? And she said to me, and I broke, it was black. She said, unfortunately, for African Americans, they always want more. But listen, do you want more? If you want more, you gotta do more. You gotta become more. You gotta ask for more. And don't let no be the final answer. Let no be your motivator. Oh, you told me no this time? Okay, I'll take no this time. But it won't be no forever. This isn't just about changing perception. It's about creating real, tangible support. Churches are partnering with mental health professionals now. They're providing accessible service. They're offering workshops on stress management, depression, anxiety. It's about fostering an environment where it's a safe place to talk about your struggles. It's a safe place. Far too many times, we do not have safe spaces. But you have to be kind to yourself and give yourself grace. I'm in the space of mental health. So the day after 4th of July, we had a cookout for our staff and the members that we serve. And y'all, we had a adult water gun fight. Balloons, water guns, all things water. And when I tell you that was the best experience, our staff texted us that night and said, I have not had this much fun in a long time. I mean, I told them, get all your frustrations out, and we were shooting each other with the super soakers. I mean, we was throwing water balloons. We had a ball. We ate, we cooked on the grill. Everybody it was a stress-free day. We were the only ones in the park that day because the day after 4th, so I guess nobody wanted to come to the park because it was hot. But we enjoyed ourselves. We created an environment where our staff didn't have to think about nothing that day. That was our intention, and we were successful in doing it. What would happen if you just had a day of freedom that you didn't have to think? You just showed up and created whatever you wanted to create in that space. And when you left it, you felt, and guess what, y'all? We noticed Monday, the morale was better. It was better morale. And they're still talking about when we're going to do it again. Well, we can't do a water fight again. We got to create something else for them again. But we realize it's moments like that, if we can create moments like that throughout the year, that their mental health will be better. and so will ours. So it's about bringing life together and touching every part of it. But let's not kid ourselves. There's still some challenges. Stigma hasn't disappeared overnight. And there's still much work to be done. But every step forward is a victory. Let me say it again. Every step forward is a victory. And every life touched is a testament of the power of this bold and compassionate approach that love is what love does. You got to show love to get love back. Now let's bring ourselves back to revolutionizing the atmosphere of where you are. Remember, you can be a revolutionizer in your day and age. It don't cost you anything. It's not gonna cost you a dime. Revolutionizing something starts in your mind. It ain't about money. It starts here. The Bible says, whatsoever man thinketh. What are you thinking? What do you want to become? And what do you hope to be? Your dreams can't die. I won't let them die. If you connected to me, I'm not going to let your dreams die. Because I know what it is to have a dream deferred. I know what it is to have a dream that nobody pours into it. And I told myself, if I ever have a dream, I'm going to make sure that dream moves. It grows. And guess what, y'all? It's growing. And I'm dreaming. And I'm pushing. Because I can't stop. I won't stop until I see my dream and your dream to pass. We got to start conversations. We can't let our conversations die with what are we going to do next and do nothing. Leave there with a game plan. Embrace becoming stronger. Embrace becoming more resilient. And embrace becoming more compassionate. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. The Black church has always been a source of strength and resilience. By boldly addressing mental health, we're honoring that legacy and ensuring a brighter and healthier future for all. It's about how healthy are you. Let's think about it. It wasn't just a dream, it was an idea that morphed into a dream, and now it's a reality. I thank you for joining me in this episode. If you found this episode to be meaningful, share some in the comments. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and share, and invite somebody into this conversation. We have to continue in this conversation. It's not going to stop here. But I need for you to stay strong, stay blessed, and let's keep thinking about it.